Greetings ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie video, taken from the HFY subreddit called Man and Beast, written by Alex Sylvian. The link to the original will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Do you know the difference between the us and the animals? Justice. Animals only kill for food, we kill for justice. Mugasa Jamal leans in on his jeep. 3 hooded people kneel on the floor in front of him. He looks down at them with a pitiless smile on his face. You were given a warning, and yet you continue to avoid the payment. And now you must face justice for your crimes. Akumu hands him his AK-47. Mugasa pats his head and gleefully shoots the first man in the head. The other 2 flinch, but don't move. Their arms and legs are tied. Where are they going to go? I still remember when Mugasa slaughtered my entire town. He came with other men and a long line of children. They set our huts on fire, burned our parents, killed our sisters. But the boys with the hardest eyes, the ones that cried the least, he gave us a seat in the caravan. He said one day we'd understand why he did what he did. He said, you know what separates us from the animals, Lewis? Understanding, growth. An animal only learns by instinct. An animal cannot solve a problem, but a man can come to realize that there is more to life than just one problem. Come with me, and I promise all will soon be understood. The other option, of course, was death. That was why my first day as a child soldier in the Somali Liberation Army. I soon realized Mugasa fancied himself as a philosopher. He took me under his wing, taught me how to read, which might as well have been a sorcery to us children. He would say, you know how we are different from the animals. Intelligence, learning. If an animal falls into a trap, the animal is finished. It can go no further. But if a man falls into a trap, perhaps he can examine his surroundings and discover a way out. A lion in a trap will chew off its own leg before it thinks of going for a switch. He seemed to develop a special affection for me. I learned fast, he said. I learned to look innocent when necessary, and to kill when possible. I became Mugasa's star pupil. He became my teacher as well as my father. But I never forgot where I came from. I never forgot what Mugasa was. I drew the other children close to me. I comforted them. Back in the present, Mugasa tears off the hood of the second prisoner. It's a woman. She's crying. She looks at Mugasa and says, please, don't hurt my... Mugasa shoots her in the head. You should have paid the fine, he says coldly. You brought this upon yourself. He walks over to the third hooded figure and removes the hood. It's a little girl. The girl looks at me and whimpers. Time passed, and the Somali Liberation Army was crushed under Al-Shabaab's heel, like so many others. The smart ones joined them. That was how I learned that Mugasa was not the smart man he pretended to be. He wanted to be a general. He left his friends, took most of the children, and tore out the Somali desert, where he started a mercenary group. He became a 2-bit thug. He began to drink and to shout, and became a far cry from the terrifying warlord that he used to be. Many times I thought of killing him, but where would I go from here? I feared him, but he was the only protection I had from the world. This is what separates us from the animals, he would say, drinking from a bottle of illegal imported rum. We look out for each other. An animal would leave another animal to die if they got too weak. We are each other's shields. He was my shield against making my own way in the world, and more than anything, I feared for the other children. Where would they go? So I carried on in his service. I shot the men he wanted dead, and I seized the towns that he wanted seized. We were always on the run from the government and from Al-Shabaab. We never had peace, so I pulled the other children close to me and kept running. I protected them from Mugasa's drunken rage, took it onto myself. I became the father to them Mugasa had only pretended to be. The little girl whimpers at me from the floor. She can't stop crying. She sees the corpses of her parents next to her, but she can't comprehend it. Death is a hard thing for an 11-year-old to understand. 11. That's how old I was when I joined Mugasa's army. Mugasa starts talking again, but not to the girl. To me. You know what separates us from the animals? Kindness and mercy. An animal cannot be kind. An animal lives and dies by its instincts. Perhaps an animal would let this child live, but we can see that this child would not last long in the merciless Somali desert. Therefore, it would be a kindness to remove her from it. He hands me the AK-47. Here you go, Lewis. Today you are 17, are you not? Then today you can show your superiority over the beasts. Be cruel to be kind. I killed my first child when I was 12. I did a messy job of it, and I had to do it with a machete. Hopefully you can do a better job. I stared at him, and I stared at her. Slowly, almost casually, my gun turns to face Mugasa. His eyes narrow. The other children's hands leap to their guns, but Okomu waves us down. I'm so tired of you, Mugasa. I don't know why I'm speaking. Maybe I just got tired. Maybe this one little girl was one little girl too many. Maybe. Every day you change how we are different from the animals. Kindness, really. I'll tell you how we are different. A man can do the right thing, but you are an animal. You cannot. I pulled the trigger. Nothing. The clip is empty. Mugasa is on me in a moment. He may be a drunken lout, but he is still massive and a devious fighter. And I am only 17. He strikes me with a huge right hand. I go tumbling into the dirt. The girl watches with wide eyes. Mugasa kicks me again and again. Really? This was your last test? I was so sure that you'd pass it. Lewis, you were my star disciple. I am so disappointed. I thought that you had finally figured out the difference between us and animals. I spit out blood. It seems I'm going to die. I wish I could have taken this bastard with me. I wish that I could have protected Akumu and the others better. I say, freck you and your animals. One day, when Mugasa was drunker than he had been in years, he pulled me to the side and told me something. I wish I could have gone to college, got a job, got a life. I wish that this wasn't all that life was. I wanted to see Paris when I was a boy. Can you believe that? My mother said that she was saving money for a caravan to take us out of Somalia to France. I never know if she saved up enough. When I was 10, a warlord burned my village down. He said that we had been harboring an enemy. I watched my parents die in front of me. But when it came to me, he said that I didn't have to die. He said that I was different from the animals, and that I could prove my worth. I killed that warlord 15 years later, but I never found out what made me different from the animals. God, I wish I knew. It troubles me to this day. When I went back to my tent, Okomu asked me what Mugasa had said. I didn't tell him, I just hugged him. So many of us had died. We needed to look out for each other. And I will carry the weight of Mugasa's insanity. He kicks me again, and a monstrous look on his face. He seems more angry about me discarding his philosophy than the attempted murder. Fine! You want to know what separates us from animals? Nothing. We eat so that we can live. We freck so that we can be more of us. We live, we die, we wallow in dirt. And one day we return to that dirt. And no one will remember us. We snap at each other from the instinct. It is not that we are different from the animals. We are animals. We belong in cages. All of Somalia is a cage, and man slaughters man until Hua devours the sun. I try to protect you from this knowledge, shield you from it. Well, now you know. He tosses his useless AK-47 at me, spits on me, and turns to walk away. Kill them both, bury them with the others. We leave for Makaba in half an hour. Nobody moves. Sensing he is being ignored, Mugasa turns around and shouts, "Did you hear me? Kill them both." I gingerly get to my feet. "You're wrong, Mugasa. There are lots of things that separate us from animals." Wordlessly, Okumu hands me another clip. I carefully load it into the AK-47 while Mugasa stumbles disbelievedly. Animals can only lead through force, through strength. Humans have another way. We can lead through love, through respect, through belief. You've killed everyone stronger than you, and never gave the weaker ones a glance, because you thought that we were beasts, and forgot that we are men. An animal cannot improve. We can become better men, but you cannot, because you are an animal. The other children will shy away from Mugasa, gathered behind me. The girl looks at me with hope in her eyes. Mugasa stares at us with a blind, unadulterated hatred. "I saved you. All of you would be dead in a ditch if it wasn't for my protection. You think Lewis can protect you from the lies out there? He cannot. He is just a child." How could I ever have respected this man? He shrivels like a worm without his army, and you are just an animal. You want to know what the warlord meant so many years ago when he said that you were different from an animal. Mugasa stares at me with rage, but also curiosity. Even after all of this time, he wants to know. He really wants to know. What did he mean? I stare at him coldly from across the sand, the same hard eyes that I had when I took me from my family. You're not more than an animal. You are less. Far less. He screams like a mad beast and runs at me. I don't even lift the AK-47. 20 guns shout into the silent desert. Mugasa falls to the ground and breathes no more. Splayed out on the floor, he seems more like a man in death than he ever did in life. Okumu lowers his gun and shakily walks up to me. "What are we going to do now, Lewis?" The others crowd around me to hear my answer. I breathe in. I breathe out. Can't show weakness now. Have to be decisive. First, untie that girl, then get Mugasa's body into the jeeps. There's a 1 million shilling reward for his body. The children scramble to do what I say, anxious to win points with the new boss. I almost break down crying. I feel exhausted, terrified. Our future is uncertain, but I know that it'll be harder than ever. But I stand up, nevertheless, put on a strong face for the others. I didn't have to do this. I could have just shot that girl. I could have taken the easy way out. I didn't have to go the hard way. I didn't have to do the decent thing. But that's what separates us from the animals. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit Quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so, listed in the description down below. The easiest and best way would be to share this video and my channel as much as possible. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a good one until then. Cheers.